We appreciate you staying with Starting Point on this Tuesday morning, the 2nd of February 2021. 4 non-profit organizations in Antigua and Barbuda have embarked on an ambitious campaign to reduce and phase out mercury in the country. Mercury is described as a highly toxic chemical that over time causes harm to our health and the environment. The Marine Protected Areas Trust, MEPA, the Medical Association of Antigua and Barbuda, MEAB, the Christian Union Church, CUC, and Zero Waste Antigua and Barbuda, ZWAB, have all received funding from the Global Environment Facility and Small Grants Program to implement the Mercury Phase-Out Project, contribution towards implementation of the Minamata Convention on Mercury, and phasing out and disposing of mercury-added products in Antigua and Barbuda. It is a technical area, but it is one that concerns every one of us. The project is being spearheaded by Dr. Nicola Bird. She is Executive Director of Integrated Health Outreach, or IHO. She's on the line with us this morning already, and so let me say good morning and welcome to you, Dr. Nicola Bird.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. It's a privilege and a pleasure.
All right. And also with Dr. Bird, we have Miss Zwania Lake, I think, who's also, forgive me if I don't pronounce your name properly, but Miss Dwania Lake, biotechnologist and graduate assistant at the Department of Analytical Services in the government of Antigua and Barbuda. Miss Lake, if you can hear me, correct me if I have pronounced your name incorrectly, but let me say good morning to you just the same.
A pleasant good morning to you, and you actually pronounced my name correctly, so thank you for that.
Okay, all right. So maybe we can start with you, Dr. Bird. I mean, mercury is something, and let's just tell people that the mercury that we're talking about is a substance, it's a metal, even though the way it behaves, you may not consider it a metal. We have other mercuries, the planet, and we have Mercury, the brand, outboard motors and things of that sort. But it is the chemical, the substance that we're talking about, the elemental substance that has seen so many uses in dental fillings, in the thermometers that we use, in blood pressure machines. I didn't even know until, very recently that it is part of the skin bleaching chemicals that people use. Tell us about mercury, Dr. Bird, why it is of such concern, seeing that it has been around for such a long time. But then again, so was lead, and then we know that there was a strong effort to get lead out of our fuel, that we get at the gas pumps. So tell us about mercury and why it is of such concern that we want to be rid of it entirely.
Well, thank you for the question. Well, I mean, mercury is a naturally occurring substance, but like anything, if we get too much of it, it becomes a problem for us and is a health hazard and certainly an environmental hazard. And because we have been using mercury in different products, and then mercury that is released into the atmosphere can prove a toxin to us. And additionally, mercury has also been released into our waters globally, and it doesn't even have to be that it is localized, meaning that it is our own consumption. Because of course, if it's released into the oceans, it becomes a global threat. And so therefore, it's also then gone into some of our, certainly larger fish will contain more mercury. So as a result, and so the release of it can have serious health consequences for us, especially, and the particularly vulnerable are women of childbearing years because it can pass into the fetus.
All right. And Ms. Lake, you work directly under Dr. Linroy Christian, who is the head of the Department of Analytical Services, and I think he is the focal point for Antigua and Barbuda. And there is, I understand, a mercury study being undertaken by that department where you are the research coordinator. Do you just care at the beginning to tell us about this mercury study? What really is it looking at?
Yes, the Department of Analytical Services is carrying out 2 studies, actually, involving mercury. One, which is the mercury hair monitoring in women of childbearing age in Antigua and Barbuda, as Dr. Bird alluded to the fact that it's a vulnerable group. Women of childbearing age is a vulnerable group because it can be passed on to the mercury intoxication can be passed on to the fetus.